Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 726 and Doubleshot number 630. Two Fantastic Four trades. First up, it is Fantastic Four Visionaries, Volume 1 by George Perez. In case you're wondering, is there any more of these volumes? Yes, there's actually one other one. And I think it pretty much collects, from what I can tell, the entirety of what George Perez did for the book. I think so. Let me take a look here for... There we go. Yeah, this trade collects issues about Fantastic Four, 164 to 167, 170, 176 to 178, and 184 to 186. Oh, and by the way, George Perez is, well, just the artist of these issues. Yeah, this is basically the first part of his era for the book. For pretty much almost like a good chunk of these issues, pretty much for 164, 167, 170, 76, 78, this is all former editor-in-chief Roy Thomas, the guy who took over a lot of Stan Lee's books in the 60s. Books like Daredevil, Avengers, had a very long run in Defenders. Like, he basically did good much. Yeah. It's kind of good the fact that there's only 2 books published because his run was not very long. Nope, because after this, he only did like 4 more, at least about 6 more issues. The only other issues he did do for this volume, Fantastic Four, he did issues 85, 88, 91, 92, and at least 2 annuals. Yep. These are various different stories related to the Fantastic Four. Now, during the period of time of these issues, the Thing briefly loses, pretty much reverts back to Ben Grimm. So, for pretty much the next several years, he's forced to wear a Thing suit, not being a member of Fantastic Four. He did, however, get a replacement, Luke Cage, for a brief period of time. He was a member. They even tried to recap the Frightful Four, have their own recruiting drive. And they've tried to have a 4th person, because at this point, the Frightful Four is made up of the Wizard, the Trapster, and the Sandman. Yes, Spider-Man villain, the Sandman, who wore a completely different outfit. Though before that, they fought a character called the Crusader, who kind of looked like, appearance-wise, he kind of reminded me of, well, Quasar. That's him. That's the Crusader. Yeah, they fought him for the first few issues of this trade. Yep. They've had the Hulk show up. Yep. Let's see if I can find it here. They've had the Puppet Master to deal with him again. That was something. Because it seems like Roy Thomas is basically hitting like, yeah, let's bring a lot of really good villains for Fantastic Four to meet. And I will talk about the next book, which had a different guy on it. Yep. We also have the Impossible Man show up. Yep. He's a 4th wall breaker. Basically, he's a pre-Deadpool. He loves breaking the 4th wall. As far as I know, I don't think Deadpool's ever met this. I don't think he's never met this guy. Nope. Yeah, he's actually a creation of Stanley Jack Kirby. Yep. Yeah. This is Sandman's attire in the 70s. Yeah, this weird-looking outfit. This was an alternate outfit because generally he wore the same outfit for years. Basically, the dark and green black plaid shirt, brown pants, and shoes. That was his outfit. And the recruits are, first we have Osprey, who's kind of like this slightly overweight guy, and his ability to fly. And then we have the first appearance of a character who later part of the Texas Rangers, or at least the Rangers anyways. We have the Texas Twister, who still occasionally makes appearances in Marvel Comics. He did appear in the pages of Avengers Initiative, where the Rangers basically were the team for Texas. Yep. And I should point out though, Texas Twister is not a villain. Though the Rangers were formed the same way the Avengers were formed. Hulk is framed for a crime he didn't commit, so he tried to call the Avengers. Well, in the Avengers issue, Rick Jones tried to contact Fantastic Four, but the call was redirected to the Avengers. Well, people who became Avengers anyways, basically. Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, Wasp. I think that was it. Just those people. Of course, Hulk joined later. In the case of the Rangers, same thing happened. Where he tried to contact the Avengers, couldn't contact them. Texas Tornado and a few other characters basically became part of the Rangers. And their job? Protect the American Southwest. That is simply put what their job was. Protect the Southwest. We also have Thundera, who tries to join the Five Four. Yeah, she was briefly part of the Five Four. She actually made a first appearance as a member of the Five Four. And then we have Captain Ultra. This weird guy. Yeah, Bendis tried to even have him become part of the Ravengers. This is, of course, Mars version of Ravengers, not the one from DC, where he joined them because he frequently called Captain America and Iron Man to try and join the Avengers. They couldn't take, they wouldn't take, refused to take his calls. Yep. Oh yeah, and he's immediately kicked out of the group, and despite that he's a good potential person to join the group, and he basically gets kicked out due to him passing out due to Wizard lighting a cigarette. Yep. We have Tigra show up in the book, and then finally, who joins the 504? This weird monster of a creature called the Brute. Oh, and they even reveal who this character is. This character is, in fact, Reed Richards of Counter-Earth. Yep. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't stay around very long. He only stays around for just a small handful of issues, and he's never seen again. Counter-Earth was something that they came up with. It was a planet on the other side of the sun, which is a planet that was created by Thor villain High Evolutionary. Still around to this very day, he made a recent appearance in a crossover between the Avengers and Champions. Yep. And of course, we have the thing sent to Negative Zone. And we have and the counter Reed Richards does something that the Reed Richards of the regular universe doesn't do. Smokes a pipe. Reed Richards doesn't even smoke at all. He's not even a smoker. Yep. I thought that was an interesting little thing to have him do. Despite when you see the Brute, even in human form, all this guy wears is basically a Speedo. This is all the guy wears. I mean, did he keep this pipe in his Speedo when he came over to Counter-Earth? Never revealed. Yeah. And they reveal his backstory of how he pretty much got the way he was, got exposed to cosmic rays. It just be him going to be a rocket, and then of course becomes the Brute. In their book, they even show the High Evolutionary taking on freaking Galactus. That was really awesome. The Apostle Man watching. Eventually, he's defeated, but they don't have that issue in here for some reason. Yeah, but my personal guess is because it was done by George Perez, they don't put it in here. Nope. Then we have the Brute going into the Negative Zone. I should point out, though, in the attention of the Collectors issues, they skip over issue 180. There's a very good reason for that. It's actually reprint. I'm not kidding. This came out in the 70s, and they have reprints. Yeah, reprints something occasionally that Marvel would do, but nowadays, if Marvel wants to reprint something in a regular comic book, they do it in like Marvel 3-in-1, or they do it in a flip book. Yep. And they fought a character called Eliminator. This is right after they fought the Brute. Yeah, Brute was a villain they fought for about a year, and of course they stopped fighting him. Fight the guy called Eliminator, who looks like a form of Eric the Red, who the original Eric the Red was Cyclops, and then they had it later on where Eric the Red was an actual person, that not the one associated with the guy who came over here from Norway. This Eric the Red was an alien. Yep, he was an alien agent for the Shi'ar. Yep. Read the early issues of Chris Claremont's run. It's amazing. We have, of course, Fight Eliminator. It's a good set of issues. I do highly recommend checking out this and the following trade. To get the entirety of George Perez's brief run. He was only booked for a good couple years. Then he left and do other stuff. Of course, he also went to DC and did the successful Teen Titans series. These issues came out from the period of, and these trades, one thing I did like about these trades, they did list off exactly when years these came out. These came out from the period of 1975 to 1977. Though George Perez had come back for a couple of annuals. But yeah, this is amazing. I'm going to give this book a 10 out of 10 because George Perez is awesome. Next up is the weird Fantastic Four by John Byrne. Yep. Oh yeah, this is also the very period of time when She-Hulk is part of the group. Yep. This collects Fantastic Four issues 276 to 284. Thing number 23 and Secret Wars number 2. Yeah, Secret Wars was the sequel to the awesomeness that was the original Secret Wars event. not Secret Wars from 3 years ago. Yeah, of course that came out exactly like I'm trying to remember. I think it was like a good like 30 years after the original one. Yep. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, the recent Secret Wars had nothing to do with the original one at all. Yep. Yeah, this basically, a lot of this is just Fantastic Four fighting demonic creatures. I'm like, really, Byrne? So, in the first issue, which by the way, Byrne does all the issues in here, he does the writing and artwork in here. Now, here's what they do. They list out basically who's the writer and artist for these issues. They have Jim Shooter, who does the writing for Secret Wars #2. Al Mogram, who does the artwork for issue #2. The Thing issue is written by Mike Carl and drawn by Ron Wilson. Jerry Orr was one of the inkers in these issues. So, what's the first thing that the Fantastic Four do in this book? Well, they have a confrontation with Agatha Harkness. Yep. There's some stuff in the back building with She-Hulk. And of course, they're brought there to deal with, of all people, the guy who basically erased Spider-Man and Mary Jane's marriage from continuity, Mephisto. Yeah, he's actually a really cool demon, but a lot of people agree. One More Day was stupid. Yep, pure stupid. Yep, and yeah, Doctor Strange tried to be helpful as well. I should point out the Fantastic Four spent the next 2 issues beating the crap out, basically battling Mephisto. Yeah, this is what happens for the next few issues. And then we have the next issue, which is The Thing, which he quits the Fantastic Four for a few years. And he comes back. Yep, he comes back for issue 300 because during the period of time he was on Battle World, he stated briefly, he came back, and oh yeah, he goes back and sees that his girlfriend is dating the Human Torch and they later get married. Oh yeah, and it turns out it was later retconned that this Alicia Masters was not Alicia Masters at all, was revealed thanks to some persuading by the Puppet Master, because Puppet Master is Alicia Masters' stepfather, that in fact, Johnny Storm married a Skrull named Lila. Yep. Which, by the way, he still had feelings for her even after they got divorced. Yep. So yeah, we have some brief fighting. Of course, they quit. And then we have quite possibly one of the best storylines this whole book. The debut of the second Doctor Doom. Yeah, that's actually his mask. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, what is the first thing he does? Okay, he has sort of revealed, he's given the memories of Doctor Doom. You see his backstory, which, by the way, originally printed in Fantastic Four #2, which was loosely adapted into the 3-part of Mask of Doom for the Fantastic Four anime series in the 1990s. Fantastic series, I highly recommend it. And of course, show Namor. And oh, by the way, what's the second Doctor Doom's outfit? This. That is his first outfit he puts on. He's like, nope, that's enough. That's actually Doctor Doom's first outfit. And then we see there's some mild stuff building up the stuff with the Hate-Monger. Yeah. This storyline was the whole thing with the whole hate stuff. Yeah, this subplot leads to a very controversial thing in the book. I'll get to that soon. Yep. Yeah. And then we see that the second Doctor Doom does something that not even the original Doctor Doom did. He sends the Baxter building to outer space and blows it up. Yeah, he blows it up. By the way, the Baxter actually returns in the early 2000s. Yeah, it remains gone for 15 years. No joke. Yeah. Of course, they also show like how Reed and everybody else survived. Yeah, Sue used her invisibility field to save everybody. Yep, and as a replacement, now, during this period of time, after the building was destroyed, they briefly moved to the Avengers Mansion, and they lived there for about a year before they moved into their new headquarters, which remained around for about 12 years, until destroyed by Thunderbolts. What building is that? One of my favorite iconic landmarks in the Marvel Universe, the Four Freedoms Plaza. Yep, this awesome building, and it's over 100 stories tall, quite possibly by far one of the tallest buildings in the Marvel Universe. Yep. I love the whole, they even go a lot varied to beat the crap of Doctor Doom's soldiers, briefly fights the second Doctor Doom. Yeah, it turns out he's just a child. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, this alpha right here, that's actually the alpha of the second Doctor Doom. Yeah, and this guy later become his adopted son. Yeah, and Christoph Veller, who later on becomes a brief resident of the Fort Freens Plaza. And then comes the most dumbest thing about this thing. Okay, let me look up here. There is a storyline published in the 1980s, which is considered one of the most weirdest stories ever published. I think these are tie-ins, if I'm not mistaken, yes. No, actually, these are later. Yeah, there is this 5-part storyline all about hate. Yes, hate. By the way, this whole storyline is perpetrated by one of the Hate-Mongers. Oh, those of you curious, Hate-Mongers, he's this racist dick who basically tries to stir up stuff related to racism. Yeah, I'm a little surprised Byrne just dug this guy up, though it's not the same one. The original one, believe it or not, was the clone of Adolf Hitler. No joke. It really was. They had another one show up in Pages of Peter Parker's Second Spider-Man. Turns out that was a bogus one because it was by a beast. It didn't mean a Thor. Yeah, that was weird. But it was an awesome storyline. Yeah, but of course they deal with the after effects of destruction of the Baxter building. Yep. And of course we also have Psycho Man, who basically does stuff in here. Yeah. And then we have Sue Storm become frickin' Malice. Yeah. This is probably by far one of the most controversial Fantastic Four storylines of all time. Not just because her become Malice. Oh no. That's not controversial enough. This skimpy little outfit. Yeah, this is the weird thing. Whenever women become evil, let's give them very little clothing. Yep, this has been a recurring trope in fiction for years. So this is nothing new. Oh look, here's the Hate-Monger. By the way, his original outfit was simply a weird looking costume. If you look up online, it's basically the single big H on it, and he has a hood of a KKK member. Instead of being white, he was black. Yeah, and he was dressed like he was a medieval knight. Yeah, that's simply what the Hate-Monger's original outfit was. They have Daredevil pop up in here as well. Hate-Monger going nuts. But yeah, the way that Malice is defeated is probably by far one of the most dumbest things that John Byrne ever did with this book. And this has been shown on Linkara's like top 15 heroes turning bad. This is how Sue turns back the good. You have Reed openly basically insulting her, and then he slaps her. Yep, slaps her, and basically rips out the back of her cloak, and says, "Oh yeah, the person behind all of this was Psycho Man." Yep, Psycho Man was basically behind all of this. Yep, he was all behind this whole nonsense of hate. Yeah, then of course they fought him, and then of course the end of the storyline, she stopped being called Invisible Girl because she'd been called Invisible Girl since her debut back in Fantastic Four #1. So for a period of 85. So a period of about 24 years, she was the Invisible Girl. From this point forward, up until present day, she's referred to as the Invisible Woman. Yep. I also love the costumes they have during this year. I love the John Byrne era costumes. And yes, I do know about the whole thing about the costumes showing up in the aborted Fantastic Four. I've seen clips of it. I can see way more put the plug in this film. It looks really bad. Yep. But probably by far the best thing about these set of issues is the Doc Doom stuff. That's amazing. But the stuff with demons, yeah, they've helped the Salem 7. Yeah, they make a debut in these issues. And the whole thing of fighting Psycho Man. Probably by far my least favorite Fantastic Four villain. But these are fun. These are pretty fun issues. I'm going to give this book a 9.5. I would have given this a 10. But the whole thing with the Hate-Monger and the Psycho Man. And of course, Mephisto really brings it down. Mephisto was fine, but at least that was like 2 issues. Doc Doom took about 3 issues. I wish that was the story a little bit longer, but yeah, it was nice to see that it was She-Hulk who ripped apart Doc Doom's outfit to reveal it was actually a child. Yep. Great book. But it has its flaws. Byrne tends to be very controversial with how he writes. Excuse me, but no denying, the guy is one damn good artist. Yes, that's one thing good you can say about him. His artwork has been consistent over the years. Currently, he does the Star Trek New Visions series, which is about 24 issues in. It introduces some new concepts, really good. It's a photo comic. Yep. Takes tales from the show, gives some new dialogue. Yeah. But it's like the only comic I can think of he does now. But at least he still has work. Perez, as far as I can tell, he's never gone back to Marvel. I don't know if he's had any bad relation with Marvel. I know he's got, he's basically got a grudge against DC for what they did with him when he did the Superman relaunch in 2011. Yeah, whenever I get a chance to get in that first trade, I will talk about how bizarre and weird that storyline is. And I don't blame the faults of that storyline on Perez. I blame it on DC editorial for all the bullcrap that storyline went through. Yeah. Byrne, as far as I can tell, I think he's had an okay relationship with both DC and Marvel, but he just first stick with IDW. Perez has got a bad relationship with DC. I'm not sure about his relationship with Marvel. That's a question. I don't know about that one. Right? So yeah, that's it for this particular review. Next episode, talking about another X-Men book and talking about a character who only appeared a few times before he lost his symbiote. Anti-Venom. I'll talk about that in the next episode. Okay? But to see you out there, bye.